and welcome to Mr. Ben's World. I am making a video this time about my life as an ex-Mormon and tell you a little bit about how I got here and maybe some history, because being a Mormon when I was growing up was a lot different than it is now. So maybe it will be kind of like a historical video document. My family comes from a long line of Mormons. My great, maybe that's enough greats, I'm not sure, grandfather, Joseph Stacy Murdoch, came over with the pioneers when they originally came to the Salt Lake Valley. He was one of the first people to settle the Heber Valley, which is kind of south and east of Salt Lake City up in the mountains. He wrote the words to a hymn called "Come Listen to a Prophet's Voice," and he was very close to Joseph Smith, who was the prophet of the Mormon Church that got it all started. I was very proud of being a descendant of the pioneers that came into the Salt Lake Valley and spread out throughout the West. My mother's side of the family was very, very strong in the church and still is, except for like me. Maybe there are a few others. Well, a few of my brothers are not. But all of my mother's brothers and sisters are all very strong in the church, and all cousins, and they're all very strong in the LDS, or the Mormon Church. But now the church says you can't call it that. You have to call it the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You can't say Mormon. You can't say LDS. Anyway, I struggled to remain in the church for a long time. Finally, I just decided I couldn't justify in my head how I could believe so many unbelievable things. First of all, Joseph Smith being a prophet who supposedly saw God, talked to God and Jesus, translated the Book of Mormon. There are so many things. I won't go into all the details. It's just the more I think about it, all the struggles I had to believe it, because it's unbelievable. I went on a mission for the LDS Church. I went to the Delaware, Maryland mission, which was in the vicinity around Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, a little bit of West Virginia, a little bit of Pennsylvania, a little bit of New Jersey. And it was a great experience. I enjoyed the area, and very historical, and we were not supposed to preach to anybody in the District of Columbia because the population there is mostly black, and at the time, black people in the church were not allowed to have the priesthood. They were said to carry the mark of Cain. They were cursed. All kinds of nasty things the church was teaching. And of course, as a missionary, as a follower, as a believer, I kind of went along with it. But I always felt it was unfair, and I had a hard time with it. When I got home from my mission, a kid who I used to know in high school, his name was Philip George. I guess he's still around. I hope he's still around. He called me one day and he said, "I want to talk to you about something." Now, in high school, he was not very popular. He wasn't really my friend. But I said, okay. I thought maybe he was going to be a multi-level marketing person trying to get me involved in his downline. But no, that wasn't it. I met in his driveway And he came out and he started saying, you know, the Book of Mormon, it says that the Indians in America are descendants from the people who came to the Americas from Israel, 600 BC. And I said, yeah. And he said, you know, there's no DNA evidence. They checked the DNA for the Native American people, and there's no Israeli, no Hebrew, no Arab blood there. It's all, it's Asian. They came from Asia. And I said, no, that can't be true. I mean, there's got to be a different explanation. One of the church books is called the Book of Abraham, and supposedly Joseph Smith translated it from an ancient papyrus. And he said it was the words of Abraham, and that was before the Rosetta Stone. And after the Rosetta Stone, archaeologists, Egyptologists got hold of the ancient papyrus, and they translated it. And it had nothing to do with Abraham. It had nothing to do with anything Joseph Smith said. And so Philip told me about that, and I said, oh, no, I mean, he was probably inspired. He saw the papyrus, even though it didn't have anything to do with what he was talking about, and he was inspired to write all this other stuff. And so Philip George just kind of said, oh, all right, go ahead. But that planted a little seed in my head, and I went away and wondered, over the next several years, I just wondered why the facts, why science was not bearing these things out. I maintained membership in the church. I did all the things. I got married in the LDS temple, which is like a big thing for Mormons. That means you can be married for eternity. I got married in the temple. 15 years later, I got divorced. My ex had kind of drifted out of the church, and I tried to stay in. I couldn't understand why she was going out of the church. I worried for her, and I tried to stay in. I got married again, and I tried to stay in, and then I got divorced. I got married again, and I tried to stay in, and then I got divorced. I met a lady in Houston where I was working at Continental Airlines in the headquarters there, and she was very strong LDS, and she wanted to go to the Nauvoo Temple. It was a brand new temple built, designed based on the old Nauvoo Temple that the Mormons built there in the 1800s. She really wanted to go, and so because I really had the hots for her, I really cared for her. I thought I loved her. I thought, but I tried so hard. I repented. I went to the church. They disfellowshipped me because I had, I hadn't followed the church rules, so I just disfellowshipped. And I tried so hard to get back in. I tried so hard, and finally I got back in, and I went with her up to Nauvoo, went to the temple there, went to the Houston temple a few times with her. But after September 11th, 2011, or 2001, when the Twin Towers got blown up and knocked down by the hijackers and the terrorists, after that I started to evaluate things. And even though that didn't have anything to do with it, I just started to think, I have to work so hard to try to believe this stuff. Why am I trying so hard? Finally, I just gave up. I said, why should I believe something that is unbelievable? And that's how I became an ex-Mormon, and that's where I am today. As I go forward, I want to talk about growing up in the church, because I have experiences. I think they're kind of fun and interesting, and if you don't think they're interesting, then maybe my kids and other people will think they're interesting. But this channel is going to be kind of taking a turn from being my life in Thailand and more toward my life and the history of my life. So it's up to you if you want to stick with me. I hope you do. I'm not making any money off the channel, so I'm not worried about getting a lot of watchers here. At this time of the COVID-19 coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2 going around the world, I hope you all are safe. I'm held up here in Songkhla, Thailand, and I was going to go back to the United States next month, but my flights started getting canceled, and so now I'm stuck here, and I'm okay. I'm fine being stuck here. I feel pretty safe here, and I feel good about being here, and I'll be here for another 4 months or so, I think. Anyway, I hope you stay safe. I hope you can avoid the disease. I'm watching the little birds out on my balcony. Anyway, take care, and I will talk to you next time in Mr. Ben's World. Bye-bye.